Yeah, and I mean, I think it is a lot of like what's going on with Rogue Warriors after the back door that they had against Suning, but I'm keeping my eyes down towards the bottom of your screen where we get the draft. So already Rogue Warriors having some of these power picks come through, like the Viego and Aphelios in that bottom lane that has a nice little bit of scaling there as well. And certainly against what Rare Adam have drafted with the Ezreal on the bot side of the map, it looks like you're not going to be under too much pressure, but certainly a long-range composition coming through from Rare Adam that looks like it's going to try and punish the short range of Rogue Warriors, although you do have that Zoe there, which will help at a certain extent when it comes towards kind of the poke wars we'll see at these objectives.
Yeah, we are going to see Forge bringing the Zoe to the table up against FoFo, and FoFo going with that Orianna that has been creeping into the meta more and more, but we're already on Summoner's Rift. It's been a very, very quick intro there as we are slightly behind the schedule, but it's Rogue Warriors, who are currently in 14th place, not looking so hot across the course of this split. They are 3-7. They are a long way away from making playoffs. And to be honest, they lose another couple of series and they'll all but be out of contention. So these games are going to be crucial for Rogue Warriors. But for the side of Rare Atom, this is going to be a big moment because they're currently tied 3rd, 4th alongside Fun plus Phoenix. If they can win this series, they will move their way all the way up to 2nd place uncontested in the league.
So I actually have an hypothesis about Rogue Warriors. I think that they are on a tear to beat people that have been to a world final. So they've actually managed, they've taken down, you know, FPX, or not FPX, sorry, they've taken down IG, who won Worlds 2018. They've taken down Suning, who were in the World Finals last year. I mean, look, I don't know, maybe if they can take one against FPX, they might be able to do something, you know? Maybe that's the secret sauce here for Rogue Warriors. They just beat the really good teams.
I mean, yeah. You do have to beat the good teams to have a good squad. That is sort of how standings work. It's an astute observation, I have to say. Straight off the bat, though, we've got junglers starting at opposite sides of the map. You can anticipate that probably means not too much action in the early game, despite what Chocho promised us in that pre-game interview. But let's talk compositions holistically here. What do you expect out of the two teams? Because do you expect Rogue Warriors to actually try and push the envelope a little bit? They do have a Zoe that can roam. They do have an Olaf that can certainly be aggressive.
Yeah, I think certainly the jungle matchup would allow Xiaohao quite a bit of agency in the early stages. Does quite well against the Xin Zhao, especially when you pair it with something like this Zoe. Pre-level 6, you have a lot of pressure here for Rogue Warriors. Post-level 6, it becomes a little bit of a different story just because the ultimates are so powerful for the mid-jungle between Leyan and FoFo. I think, though, as this game starts to go on, it's very much going to come down towards like execution for RA. They have a great composition that spikes off of 2 items, but they want to kind of be absorbing the pressure from Rogue Warriors and kiting back, using the likes of this Orianna, Shockwave to buy space. You've got Ezreal the Braum that can also kind of play quite far back and just use the range that they have. For Rogue Warriors, they need to try and find some creative ways to get these flanks or some really strong solar flares from Chocho to close that gap and allow people like ZDZ and Betty to get in on top of Rare Adam and deal the damage that they have.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge though. Like, let's not beat around the bush. There's definitely a heavy favorite in this game in the form of Rare Atom, and Rogue Warriors have their work cut out if they want to be able to show up. But the early game is definitely the moment to exploit Rare Atom, right? We've talked about this a lot, but the early stage is like first blood percentage, 14th in the league for Rare Atom. First tower percentage, 10th in the league for Rare Atom. Even kills at 15 is incredibly low at 12th in the league. Feels like this is a team that is very slow to start, but when it comes to the objectives, Rift Herald, they have the highest percentage. Dragons, they have the 3rd highest percentage out of everyone in the LPL. So when it comes to those objectives, that's when Rare Atom will group up and start to shine as a unit.
It's also because they're incredibly strong in lane, right? I mean, if you look at FoFo, he's the highest CSD of any mid laner in the league right now. And that seems to be the game plan as well when you look towards iBoy. Crazy high CS difference of 15. They're about trying to beat you in the lane and then have these extended laning phases where they can then come into the mid game and play off of those objectives that you've been talking about, Munchables. So as Rogue Warriors, we need to keep our eyes on Xiaohao. How does he get in and try and influence these lanes? And right now, he's just gone for a very quick clear, got his reset to pick up that early pickaxe, but I do want to see him kind of turn his attention towards the potential for some of these early objectives. As bot lane, you can see Betty and Chocho have that shove, same you look at Forge in that mid lane, and then maybe look towards ZDZ in that top lane and see if you can punish Cube on this Jayce.
Could be an opportunity there to go up towards Cube. It's something that we often see on these Jayces is that you're not very good when the enemy starts to try and dive into you. You don't have the wave clear to clear away a stacked up wave. You can see ZDZ pushing that Xiaohao is on the top half of the map here as Forge looks to get eyes on Leyan, who starts his Raptors. Xiaohao moving in as well. Bit of a congestion here from Rogue Warriors. Smite's available, and it's Xiaohao to get the big chicken, but no fight to ensue.
And this is what I like to see from Rogue Warriors, you know, being a little bit more proactive. The thing that I want to try and get more from this, though, is, like, continue this pressure with Xiaohao and Forge, but actually move as a unit. So, like, shove in mid here for Forge, start to teeter up towards top side, and see if you can actually get these dives happening. Because, as I said, like, Jayce, very vulnerable to a dive between the Olaf Zoe and also having that Viego there as well.
Certainly could be an opportunity, but whether or not Rogue Warriors pull the trigger on trying to dive on the top side, whether or not they try and look towards the bottom lane instead, but I don't know. The thing about that bottom lane is it's Ezreal Braum, right? This is the ultimate opt-out lane. Ever since Tahm Kench got kind of removed as that peel support at very least, who knows what role he fulfills in the meta right now. Apparently he could still be a support. We saw that earlier today alongside a Swain, so it feels like a very different kind of Tahm Kench at very least. But yeah, this Ezreal Tahm Kench lane, we're starting to see it more and more. Any Ezreals alongside things like sorry, I said Tahm Kench, I meant Braum. Alongside the Braum, even alongside things like Leona and Bard as well. Anything that can roam around while Ezreal just has a chill lane in the bottom side. Braum there just to make sure he's extra safe.
Well, Xiaohao needs to be extra safe here because Rare Atom are all collapsing towards this dragon off the reset that we saw from Betty and Chochu on the bot side.
Oh, we said they have the highest dragon percentage, or sorry, third highest dragon percentage in the entire league. But Rogue Warriors want to ruin that statistic for them. Xiaohao is here. Chocho starts the Drake off, and they'll pull it out and kick it off. Saw a reset from iBoy and Hung, and that's going to mean that there will be no contention here. Rogue Warriors starting things off well with an objective. They've got a bit of a CS lead in that jungle role as well. But look at the mid lane right now. Forge with a 10 CS advantage over his counterpart in FoFo. Really, really nice stuff from Forge, who realistically is a mid laner that I think a lot of people are not too keen on.
Yeah, I mean, the Zoe has been one of his best champions for a while now, so not surprised to see that he is actually doing pretty well into this matchup. You got full push here as Zoe in this lane, and actually it's a little bit of a difficult matchup for Orianna because she's not as easily able to punish you, where she can try and get these quick autos, use that ball to try and zone you because you have that crazy long range on the Zoe. However, FoFo is insanely good at Orianna. He's a 35 KDA on this champion across 2 games so far, and one of the big things is how well he syncs up with his jungler as soon as he hits 6. Now, you can see Leyan and FoFo both have that level 6. FoFo run a little bit low on mana, so may not see anything thus far, but certainly keep your eyes towards this Rift Tower as it starts to come up. This is where we'll start to see if FoFo can get some of these early kills, which he's been able to do so consistently this split on the Orianna.
We already talked about RA. First in the league when it comes to heralds. They love to try and get that herald and use it to swing these lane advantages that they usually find even further in their favor. Shockwave comes down in the mid lane as Leyan is here as well, but just about misses on the W. That means that the play falls apart, unfortunately, for the side of Rare Atom, but still pings towards the herald. They might try and pull the trigger regardless.
And that W for Leon is so important. Like, getting that extra range on the Audacious Charge because you've hit it is so important. Also because it's the ability you max, right? So not having that extra damage means they've got to call it off. But it does mean that FoFo commits a hell of a lot in towards that play. Also using the last of his mana pool. So Rogue Warriors feel pretty confident just to turn over towards this objective. Now, that's 2 for 0 over towards Rogue Warriors.
Rogue Warriors, I can't believe I'm saying this. Rogue Warriors are largely in charge. They're the ones controlling the pace of the game here. Rare Atom kind of opting out on a lot of this early game, which it's not surprising to see Rare Atom not fighting massively in the early game. It is surprising to see them opting out of objectives. So good to see, though, that they are still playing smart, right? They're saying, look, we can't win the Herald right now. We just want to keep extending this laning phase, find advantages there, and then look to fight later on.
Yeah, and again, we're going to see if that is going to be the way that Rare Atom can play this out. I think the big one here is where do we get Xiaohao actually put
Hung?
this... Hung!
Hung! You sneaky beaver, you! Just chucks a chair over the wall.
All right, 2 for 1 at objectives for Rare. I like it. But honestly, I think the big question here is where do we see Xiaohao go? There is an argument here to try and like knock down that mid lane turret, get Forge in a position where he's strong, but it feels like Forge is going to be the main counter play towards the rare atom range that you have. So getting this Zoe up and running is a pretty good shout. But I can also see an argument for either side lane, right? You've got Betty, who is going to be able to deal a lot of damage. You've already gotten one turret plate off on that bottom side. So Rogue Warriors might just look to continue pressure on that bottom side, guarantee a plate for themselves, and then start to rotate around the map with this strong Aphelios.
Certainly could be an option for them. And I want to zero in on the topic of that Aphelios, because I think QiuQiu will be fine. He's just going to walk away here. Everyone retreats. The problem I can see for Betty here, because Betty has very much been one of the highlight players for Rogue Warriors over the last few series. We see Xiaohao focusing on his lane a lot, generally speaking, and with those plays down, it wouldn't be surprising to see a Herald there. But look at the range on this RA composition. This is a perfect composition for just kiting at Aphelios and never letting him do Aphelios things.
Well, iBoy did take a good chunk of damage from at least one aspect of the Aphelios kit that has the range, but I do agree, like, the big thing here for Aphelios is his best guns are the Severum Crescendo, right? And for that you need to be very close quarters, and we kind of said, hey look, this means you need QiuQiu to have these good engages, ZDZ to find these flanks, hell, even a triple bubble to start these off, because if you get the count back from Moray, you can't do particularly much here as Rogue Warriors.
Tower doesn't quite go down. It'll still go down. Betty can just walk forward again and finish this one off. One auto attack will do the trick. Gets the majority of that gold. 330 for the finish off there. And that's a very early first tower take as well for Rogue Warriors. A massive influx of gold for them. And hey, look, compositionally, sure, not the greatest for Betty, but at least they're setting him up for success in terms of gold in the early game. Already has a Noon Quiver. In fact, already has a shield bow. Just finished that one off. Xiaohao also finishes a Gore Drinker. We are having super early spikes across the board here for Rogue Warriors.
And the thing that we were actually going to highlight for Rogue Warriors in our opening segment was like how big of a performer Betty has been for this team and why we see Xiaohao playing so heavily down towards his bottom side. Like, if you look at the damage percent for the team, Betty's 29%. He's the highest kill participation for any AD carry and the highest kill participation on Rogue Warriors at 73%. He's actually the only, like, the bot lane is the only lane on Rogue Warriors that is ahead at the 15-minute mark, so I'm not surprised to see more pressure.
Drake taken here. Xiaohao moves in, though a little bit late to play. Leyan has to flash away, but he's taken down anyway. Xiaohao looks for more. Good Glacial Fissure out from Hung to buy space. Xiaohao gets another undertow. FoFo collapsed upon as Betty's going to burn through him. In goes the Aphelios. Aphelios, that's a Viego, actually. Just new champions, you know, the exciting ones at very least. There's 2 kills regardless for Rogue Warriors.
Yeah, and a great TP from ZDZ, willing to give up his wave on top side to get down towards that play. Dragon goes Rare Adam's way, but it's 2 kills further in Rogue Warriors' side. Forge TPing back up here as well to make sure that you're not able to get any more here as cubes. So, Rory, not really coming out on top of this play, and I think it was over-forced here. As you said, like, you've got that initial shield bow now completed for the Aphelios. The stronger champions right now as well isn't going to do you too much, and although FoFo does get a great shockwave, it's not going to be enough in this situation, and when the composition wants to try and play at range, giving Rogue Warriors that avenue to jump on top of you means they can take the fight.
It's definitely a challenge for Rare Atom to fight in this early stage when you don't have any items going for yourself. I will say, Betty using both summoners in that fight to be able to make that happen, obviously flash forward to get the Gravitum route down, does mean he could be vulnerable if RA can mount an attack, and we are getting towards the 15-minute mark. It's towards the mid-game that we usually start to see Rare Atom come alive. Now, we already saw them pushing to make sure that they got a Drake, and you can expect them to continue to try and find more. Flash over the wall, but QiuQiu follows him with the Zenith Blade. It's a slow. Now from the Solar Flare, won't be enough for a kill.
A bit of a panic solar flare there from QiuQiu. Didn't actually end up connecting onto either of the members, so he'll walk away, but you can still see iBoy needs to be careful. A lot of members of Rogue Warriors trying to collapse in around this mid lane. I think the best bet here for Rogue Warriors, though, as you can see, move Betty up towards this top side and try and use this advantage that you have from Forge once again, right? Forge shoves the wave and then rotates up top side, and you try and go for these 4-man plays, push people off of the top turret, and even if you can't get iBoy and Hung to see that turret, you can still turn towards the Rift Tower that's about to spawn.
You certainly can. It's coming up in under a minute's time here. You'd think maybe Rare Atom would be the ones in prize position to be able to push for that one. Cube has the teleport available, whereas ZWuJi doesn't, so he's going to have to just either walk straight up towards the Herald or match in the bottom lane and not be able to answer on the top half of the map. But it looks like ZWuJi is moving straight over. Rogue Warriors gonna try and start this one off, and I'm curious what Rare Atom are gonna do about it. You gotta expect that surely this is one that they're gonna have to contest. As you can see, Leyan moving in. He wants to try and get vision here, but he has to be careful face checking on his own. Cube in the bottom side. ZWuJi has now come to answer, so perhaps a TP opportunity for Q.
Yeah, and a reset had just come through for iBoy as well, so he managed to get himself a bit more of those items completed for himself. Rogue Warriors, though, looks like this is just going to be gone before you can even get the contest.
Hung's in trouble as well. We'll jump out to safety. And Rare Atom, they lose both Heralds in this game. The team that is the best in the entire league at taking Heralds has lost 2 Heralds at the start of this game against the team that is in 14th place. This is a new look for Rogue Warriors. This is aggressive, proactive gameplay, and I'm loving every second of it.
Yeah, and it's what we got to see a little bit more of against IG and against Suning, where they actually were able to go pretty heavily against some of the teams that are up in the LPL. But right now, this is again where we got to see, okay, well, they're just kind of playing, I will say, like on a knife's edge. Because if you actually got the TP from Cube there, if iBoy hadn't gone for the reset, it feels like you can 5-man contest Rogue Warriors there, but already just not willing to pull the trigger. So still, Rogue Warriors, yes, they're getting these advantages, but they're really advantages that could have been punished so far.
Well, Dagda, it does feel like the pace of the game is starting to pick up a little bit here. We've got a Drake up in 40 seconds. What do you expect to see from the two teams? Who's the favorite to grab this?
Well, I think when you've got this Rift Herald mid and they're hard force and priority here for Rogue Warriors, it seems a lot easier for them to get river control. The problem, though, is that you're then sitting here with Cube, iBoy, FoFo, all trying to poke you down over these walls.
Bubble goes wide there as RA having to back away. And this is one of the real threats that Zoe brings to the table when it comes to these jungle skirmishes. When you have so many walls to throw your bubbles through, it can be incredibly difficult for the enemy team to make their way in, especially with Orianna, Jayce, Ezreal, all incredibly squishy, incredibly susceptible to Zoe's burst. Herald comes down in the mid lane. That will be a mid-tier 1 taken by Rogue Warriors. That's 2 towers to 0. And now, because of that, they have priority. They can move into the river. They can get a bubble onto Hung and look for this Drake now. Zara still grouped up, though. They have a Jayce on the backline, but everyone dodging the shock blast superbly. And Drake is going to reset once more. It feels like RA desperately want to contest, but they're not really sure how to get involved in the play. Blast cone over from Leyan. He's just going to be locked up, though. Solar Flare comes in. Everybody from Rogue Warriors groups up, but he's tanky, and he won't go down for now. Drake about to be taken, though. Smite comes on through. In fact, ZWuJi finishes that one off in the end. Hung trying to block for his team, and it's 1 kill going the way of Rare Atom. Maybe this is the moment for them to take over as Betty gets caught by the passive. In goes everyone. A jump forward from iBoy is a little bit concerning, but FoFo's still going strong. The resets for ZWuJi, but the Braum passive shuts him down. And 2 double kills to the solo laners of RA.
RA managed to take the team fight win, but the Dragon does go the way of Rogue Warriors. And a bit of a messy fight from Rogue Warriors. They kind of got caught between 2 different places, and I like the way they're trying to use Forge here as this kind of break for the siege that Rare Atom are trying to have with these objectives. Flinging over all these spells, you're trying to see if you can get that Trouble Bubble to start things off, but QiuQiu engaging onto Leyan here, you can see instantly the Crescent Guard comes out. There's not enough damage to shut them down. FoFo also putting that Shockwave over the top because of Leyan, because he knows that everyone in Rogue Warriors has to group within the Crescent Guard to damage Xiaohao. And then here, over-aggression from QiuQiu. I looked down, saw all the flashes on Rogue Warriors, and thought they were just going to try and get out of this, and you can see Betty has that idea, but at least for ZWuJi, he does get a good amount of damage off and managed to get a double kill for himself before the rest of things fall apart.
He tried to at least get something, and hey, in terms of gold, they are still even, but it's 4 and 4 on the board now. Still the 2-tower advantage in favor of Rogue Warriors, but it's at least been somewhat matched up with just 1 tower taken, and now, oh my days, the Ignite goes down to FoFo. Almost just 1 shot, and that is one of the reasons that Orianna's picked against this Zoe, right? You can survive the 1-shot potential with your shield.
Yeah, but you can see that this is an issue, right? And I actually really like that Rogue Warriors drafted this Zoe, because you can see, right, when you try to set up to try and poke with the Ezreal, with the Jayce, you just send over a triple bubble. If it lands, fantastic. All you do is set up for the follow-up CC from Rogue Warriors, a Solar Flare, ZDZ to come in with his own stun as well, and give Rogue Warriors the chance to close the distance on towards Rare Adam. So for Rare Adam, I wouldn't be surprised to see things like these QSSs come through for Cube, iBoy having to burn these cleanse, just to make sure when we get towards these objectives, Rogue Warriors aren't able to get this triple bubble CC combo off.
I will say, though, when we're talking about who's going to be effective in those fights, I was about to bring up Cube. He could be in trouble, though, as the bubble did land. Forge opts out of using that flash that he had available to him to try and extend the play here. But Cube now onto 2 items after getting the double kill during that play and barely dodging away from that paddle star. That realistically could have been the end of it. We've already got the boots coming through. We've already got the Ludens there for Forge. He is a very scary Zoe at this point in the game. But Dagda, another Drake in 2 minutes. And it feels like both of these teams are going to be headed there.
Yeah, it's the best place for Rare Adam to try and contest Rogue Warriors, right, and use that range that they have. But again, I want to see like more control over the side lanes coming through for Rare Adam, and that's really hard to do right now because ZDZ is really strong. He's managed to get that Divine Sunder. He's very quickly approaching that Sterix. We've just seen Forge annihilate both FoFo and Cube. So when it comes to side lane pressure, it feels like Rogue Warriors have control, and as long as they're able to push out these sides and then move over towards the dragon, it becomes a lot easier for them to deny Rare Adam some of this CS or the time to set up for these big objectives.
Now, you mentioned the 2 item power spikes earlier on for Rare Atom. Well, we've got 2 items on the Ezreal, we've got 2 items on the Jayce, and we're getting there for FoFo, for Leyan as well. Does feel like over the next few minutes we're going to start to see this Rare Atom composition really come online. And that's going to be a scary moment for Rogue Warriors, because in the pre-game interview they said themselves they've got to get ahead in the early game. Well, they're only 2,000 gold ahead as we broach the 20-minute mark. And the question from my perspective is going to be whether or not 2,000 gold is enough of a difference. Drake up in 50 seconds now, but ZDZ getting some good priority in this bottom side.
Rogue Warriors, though, moving in as a 4-man unit to clear a Vision and River, just gave RA control of mid. And when you got 40 seconds now until Dragon, this is where Rare Adam want to be. But look at the side lanes. Both Forge and ZDZ now pushing out. You have to deal with this as Rare Adam. And now you can rotate everyone on Rogue Warriors down and look to see if you can get Vision control at Dragon, look for these picks, or even try and find these flank routes for ZDZ.
Question. FoFo has moved up, he's cleared that, he's going to recall, but he does have teleport available here. And Cube can join the rest of his team. Oh no, the shield didn't come up in time, but Hung's okay at least for now. Blocks a lot of that damage coming through, but now his Unbreakable's gone. We'll walk away. Hung, I feel like he was kind of lucky to survive that onslaught that came his way there, but he survives no less. Now a bubble onto the Ezreal. No follow-up though. Hung is incredibly low. Leyan buying time at the front line, but it feels like it's falling apart for RA. Shockwave onto 1, but it's 1 kill now for ZDZ. Gets the reset and looks for more on this Jayce, but won't be able to get any more. Bubble goes over from Forge. They've done enough to buy space and get a 3rd Drake here for Rogue Warriors.
And that's what we were just talking about, right? Using those side lanes to get on towards Dragon first. They nearly get the pick on towards Hung, and even though it was a little bit messy and not quite coordinated enough to find the play, it means that Rare Adam have to face check in towards the pit. They run into Rogue Warriors, and then that short range composition can't be denied the damage that you want to as Rare Adam.
Now, I wanted to bring up a sort of story point earlier on Dagda, but
okay.
I was nervous. I wasn't confident enough to actually bring this up. But coming into this series, well, here's the thing, right? RA versus Rogue Warriors, both of these teams, even though they're so dramatically different where they are in the standings, are currently 3-2 in their 5 most recent series. In terms of recency, it's actually very even between the 2 teams. Right now, Rogue Warriors are ahead, but Chocho's been caught out. Now Leyan has to use his ultimate just to keep himself safe. Xiaohao arrives as well to keep his support alive. iBoy aggressive on this Ezreal, as we all know he always is. That could be a paddle star, but it's just out of range from Forge. And I feel like with these 2 long-range compositions, we're just seeing everyone taking a turn to try and get a jab in, and then the counter punch comes through.
Yeah, and for Rare Adam, it really does rely on who does actually absorb that triple bubble coming through from Forge. Because if it's Leyan or Hung, you can pop up, you know, either the present card or else that shield to stop that damage from Forge. But if it's anyone else, it feels like you're in a lot of trouble here, and you rely on Hung there to try and be the bodyguard for some of these squishier members of 4A. But Rogue Warriors are doing a really good job, and specifically Forge, of threading the needle and getting on towards people like iBoy, so they have to arcane shift away. Cube, so he has to run for the hills, and it's making it really difficult for 4A to actually contest a lot of these plays.
I will say though, that damage coming out from Cube there, that was half of somebody's HP. I think it hit onto Betty there.
Yeah.
If he can get a shock blast or two before a fight, I mean, at that point, I'm not sure Rogue Warriors can fight anymore. And that's one thing that we do have to mention is Rogue Warriors are not especially tanky. Yes, they do have this Zoe to get some poke down themselves, but if iBoy gets a good true shot barrage before a fight, if a couple of shock blasts come on through as well, Rogue Warriors could quite easily just be pushed out of a play entirely.
And that's why we're seeing a lot of more defensive builds coming through from Rogue Warriors, right? We already had the Immortal Shield Bow, give you the shield, a little bit more healing so you can try and sustain in these fights. But also from Forge, he's just finished off the Banshee's Veil, right? He's well aware that like a shockwave or one accelerated shock blast can end his days. So taking a little bit more of a defensive route, buying a little bit more time for himself. And I think Rogue Warriors are actually doing a pretty good job here of fighting against Ore and how Rare Adam want to play this game.
At what point, Dagda, do we start to get excited for Rogue Warriors? Because remember, they are a massive underdog coming into this game. It's Rare Adam that are trying to fight for a second place position in the league if they can win this series, whereas Rogue Warriors sat in 14th right now, but currently just a tiny bit ahead in this game. FoFo pushing on the side lane. Baron is on the cards here, and it's Rare Atom that have vision control of the area. Feels like Rogue Warriors need to start to cast their eyes up towards that top half of the map. Xiaohao.
Leyan might be
on Leyan here. Betty's going to get over the wall with the turret as well. Huge damage. That's going to be Leyan's ultimate force, but it doesn't matter because Xiaohao's happy for a 1v1. That's the jungler down. That is such a crucial pick, Dagda. That's the Baron open wide.
There is so much damage here for Ore, and you're sitting ducks for Rogue Warriors, though. They need to actually find the engage here rather than just letting Rare Adam poke them down.
Half health on the Baron already. This is the moment for Rogue Warriors to make the upset happen. FoFo chunked down to half. Betty just DPSing the Baron as much as he can. Smite's going to come through any second. Baron taken. Rogue Warriors in full retreat because they're going to call that one a win right there.
And they want to get here for the dragon as well. 50 seconds until that one spawns. Ore will take the mid lane turret, try and get control of this bot lane jungle, and move over to try and contest Rogue Warriors. But resets actually late from Rare Adam right now. You just have a Baroned up Rogue Warriors who are coming back onto the map. Ore should have tried to hold on towards jungle, but this now gives full pressure to Rogue Warriors.
And ultimately for Rogue Warriors, they have options. A, go for the Drake yourself, go for that soul, or B, use the Baron while Rare Atom group up for the Drake and take tier 2 towers, because for Rare Atom it'd only be the second Drake anyway, so it's not a huge loss for Rogue Warriors if they don't get the dragon, but it is a huge win for them if they do. Betty takes a massive blast to the face there from Cube as we set up for the Drake. iBoy is here alongside Leyan. Remember, that Crescent Guard going to be so crucial for when it comes to trying to survive these fights for Leyan. It feels like he has to go in pretty much alone, and a trouble bubble is going to be trouble for him. Solar Flare in. An Infernum across them from Betty as well as he looks to get that AoE splash damage across the team of Rare Atom, who are already in full retreat. It feels like there's nothing they can do in these fights. Rogue Warriors just muscle them off the Drake, and now burning through, they want to get themselves a soul, and Rare Atom have to answer. Leyan jumping into the pit, but he's already used his ult, has to flash away from this one. Now into the backline goes Cube, as Rogue Warriors, they get themselves the soul, but the health bars are low. Shockwave onto 2. Rare Atom don't follow it up. Betty still going strong on this one. Hung uses the unbreakable, flashes in from the team. Forge looking to clean it up as well. Paddlestar's going crazy. Betty getting good damage down. FoFo chased down. Rogue Warriors get a soul and they get themselves the fight.
They might be limping, those health bars might be blinking, but Rogue Warriors have come out on top, and now they have the run of the mill. It's 30 seconds until any of these members on Rare Adam spawn, and they're looking towards this bot lane. They want to see if they can get some more towers for themselves.
And they'll get a cheeky little blue buff on top of it as well, but Rogue Warriors right now on the cusp of doing the impossible.
And again, we're seeing Rare Adam fully commit towards these short-range fights, right? Cube jumping in with the melee range there on the bottom side of that fight. You can see Rogue Warriors as well then. They just pounce. They're like, great, if you're in close to us, Betty has the crescendo in the Severum. He's dealing so much damage. He's healing so much with that Immortal Shield Bow. And Rare Adam now are kind of looking at themselves going, what the hell is going on this game? You've now got the Aphelios with 3 items. The Zoe's doing so much work. The Mountain Dragon to go up against as well. It feels like Rare Adam, they're stuck.
And I want to just mention that, like, this could be the moment where everything really kicks off this year for Rogue Warriors, right? This would be a watershed moment for Rogue Warriors fans where they manage to take down RA if they can get these games. It's not over just yet. We're still just in the first game. I don't want to get too excited. But we saw RA beating IG, and everyone pretty much just chalked that up to it's just IG things, right? That's pretty much everyone's happy to see an IG random upset. Like, that happens every single split, whatever, right? And then Rogue Warriors lose out to BLG. It's like, okay, we're back to normal. But then Rogue Warriors beat Suning as well. And that's the point at which you have to start asking some questions of, is this Rogue Warriors team suddenly an actual contender? If they beat RA today, they will confirm that this is a team that actually could be alive in the playoffs race.
And that's insane, because you think of like where they are in the standings right now. Like, as 14. You said, they're sitting 3 and 7, but they're tied with IG. Like, they're only 1 win behind RNG. Like, there's still a chance here for these if they're able to take down some of our top teams. I mean, like, there are a lot of teams that have gone against Rare Adam and not been able to contest them like Rogue Warriors are right now. But I have to say, a lot of this is actually coming through, like, we talk about, you know, Betty being a big member for this team. ZWuJi is having an insane game. Like, this Viego has been doing so much work for Rogue Warriors in these fights, with him launching in with the Heartbreaker onto the back line and causing so many issues for people like FoFo and FoFo and iBoy.
It feels incredibly difficult for anyone on RA's side to get involved at all. And interestingly, we see iBoy building a shield bow on Ezreal here. This is not a build that I'm used to seeing, but it feels like it's a reaction to saying, hey, look, I can't do anything in the fights. I gotta get some lifesteal here. I gotta get a bit of survivability, or I just don't get to play League of Legends.
And as you said, like, a bit of that burst threat denied from Forge as well, thanks to the shield on it. But still, this is kind of looking dicey for ORA. They realize, look, we're not in the best spots. This composition that's supposed to be playing at long range, we haven't really had the opportunity to, thanks to Forge essentially being a sniper with these bubbles. And now Baron gonna spawn in 50 seconds. Control of top side goes towards Rogue Warriors, whereas we look at bot, Cube is at least starting to get control down there. ZDZ gonna respond, but there's a lot of vision in that Rare Adam jungle that Rogue Warriors can look to find these TP plays for ZDZ.
Now, it's important to mention that at the end of the day, even though Rogue Warriors are ahead right now, they've got a 5,000 gold lead, this is still Rare Atom. And late game team fighting is one of the things that Rare Atom is real damn good at. You've still got an Orianna there that's heading towards her 4th item at this point. You've got an Ezreal that's iBoy of all people that's heading towards a 4th item as well. Excuse me, this is still a team that when it comes to those late game team fights can pop off.
I agree. But look at the amount of Guardian Angels that are sitting on Rogue Warriors' side right now. There are 3 oh, actually, I might not get a chance to finish
iBoy's
this.
Been caught! Flashes away to... In fact, it was an arcane shift to safety. Didn't even have to use that ultimate. Unbreakable came out as well. That was an ultimate. In fact, 2 ultimates coming out from Rogue Warriors. That actually could be really advantageous for Rare Atom in the end now as they try and contest. Everybody walking on forwards. iBoy has no fear. He's got lifesteal on Ezreal. He can go as aggressive as he wants. Crescent Guard comes on through, but ZDZ matches him in the fray. Leyan flashes out to safety backwards. Shockwave back in. There's 1 GA popped out of 3. There's a kill going down onto the support. And RA's late game team fighting comes up big once again. Forge trying to get damage down, but iBoy still going strong. Has to keep himself safe, but gets the shield from the shield bow. There's a second GA. That's 2 out of 3 now, but Betty's is still going strong. Xiaohao having to back away. Forge looking to get more, but he's taken down instead. Cube gets the shot on through, and now iBoy on the chase. He can see that 3rd GA, and he wants it. It's looking juicy to him. Shock blast onto Betty. iBoy trying to chase as they defend their tower.
A messy fight from Rogue Warriors, as he said, losing so many of those ultimates before the fight, and it gives the opportunity for Rare Adam to push them back. So many of those GAs burnt, but nothing really gained here, right? Leyan, he went down, so he's only coming back from base. Means that you can't actually go towards the Baron, can't try and contest in the map, and now we've got an Elder Dragon scenario with Rare Adam holding bot side river control.
Forge is going to be up in 15 seconds, but he will have teleport. You can see Leyan making his way over from the base as fast as he physically can, but this is very likely to be a 5v5 for the Elder Drake. Rare Atom being pushed to their limits by the Rogue Warriors here. They're doing Ice Coke proud right now. 5,000 on the Elder Drake as Leyan arrives on the scene. It's going to be a 50-50 smite fight to decide the game here. Who's going to get the Elder Dragon? Is low and it's taken by Rogue Warriors. They're looking to finish the fight as down goes Leyan. They've got one pick and they could go for more as well as they just back away. They're happy with the Elder. They'll get themselves the Baron.
Xiao, how does he do it? What an absolute legend. Coming in on the Rogue Warriors, steals away the Elder Dragon, and now, because you've got that buff, they turn over towards the Baron as well. Ore, though, trying to do the Rogue Warrior special, see if they can counteract this on the bottom side. They will trade that bot lane turret, but it's all Rogue Warriors all day in this game.
We were thinking that Rogue Warriors were becoming the backdoor specialists of the LPL, but who needs to use the backdoor when you can just kick down in the main entrance? Chocho gonna answer the push in the bottom side as iBoy has to retreat. Let's take another look, because that was pure chaos.
And I saw this Elder Dragon resetting. I was like, this is the worst for both junglers, because you've got to try and now manage your DPS versus the regen. Top side of the fight ends up going totally fine. As honestly, for Rogue Warriors, you get the ults coming through from FoFo, but it's not doing enough right now. And then when that Elder Dragon goes across the Rogue Warriors, they get that one pick, lets them turn over towards the Baron. And now we're sitting with a minute left on towards the Elder buff. 2.5 minutes here for the Baron, and Rogue Warriors are looking to push down this mid lane turret.
Now, here we go for Rogue Warriors. Still a minute on the Elder Dragon buff. With Baron, this is insanely aggressive siege ability coming out from Rogue Warriors. They can take towers like they're paper right now, and it's difficult for Rare Atom to really contest at all. Betty gets onto this mid lane in his tower. They've run out of minions though, so they will have to back away at least in the short term, and Betty basically kicked out of the base here. That might actually be enough to force a reset.
I think it will be. I mean, Betty does have the Immortal Shield Bow, so can look to try and heal up, but don't forget, that was the Immortal Shield Bow shield as well. So that's a lot on Betty that's just gone to a miss. So now instead he's going to look to move top. You can see he's regenning off that wave, and they got the tower in mid, which was the crucial factor. And now Betty, he's nice and topped up, even got the overheal there for himself.
Oh my days, 2 little splashes from Infernum. Look at iBoy's health. 2 splashes from the auto attacks, and iBoy is basically kicked out of the game. There's 2 inhibs gone. The Elder Dragon is timed out though. Now is the window for Rare Atom. Leyan goes in to buy time, but it's his teammates that are falling apart. Cube goes down. There's a paddle star onto the back line as well. True Shot Barrage is not enough. Shockwave goes in to try and buy some space onto Betty, but he survives. He's got lifesteal, and he doesn't even proc his GA just yet. Now onto the base they go, and Rogue Warriors start this series with a win.
Holy moly! That is not what I expected coming into this series at all. Rogue Warriors taking the fight to Rare Atom. And it's exactly as Chocho said in that interview. Take those fights against them early. Make sure you're getting these advantages. And they manage to come out with every objective in the early stages. They are coming out with these team fight wins. The kills are going their way. The lanes are going their way. And they just get this big balloon of gold that they end up being able to smack down Ore with.
I kind of can't believe my eyes. I can't believe we actually just saw Rogue Warriors take down Rare Atom, including outfighting them in the late game. Leyan especially had a pretty rough game for himself, but man, what a way to make a statement in the LPL. These teams are both 3-2 in their most recent 5 series, but it feels like Rogue Warriors right now, with a great composition, with a great game plan, and with great execution, push themselves to maybe be a favorite for the series.
Yeah, and there's a couple of big factors in this game that I want to talk about, specifically for the composition, right? I think Forge having this Zoe was like the key to being able to defeat Rare Adam here. He was so on point with these trouble bubbles, consistently landing onto iBoy, Cube, and allowing those follow-ups coming through with like the likes of the Solar Flare. And it meant that Hung was just kind of all over the place. It never felt like Rare Adam were kind of all situated where Hung could try and keep people in place. And then because of that, you saw the rest of like ZDZ being able to dive into the backline and get a whole bunch of damage off.
Yeah, it was ZDZ definitely had a great game for himself on Viego, and I'm honestly just kind of blown away. I'm totally blown away by this one, and I'm really excited for Game 2 now, because I thought that this was going to be a little bit of a disappointing series. I thought this was just the warm-up game for Top Esports versus FPX, and how wrong I was. Our MVP coming out of that one was Xiaohao, the man in the jungle that has come in, and as far as I can tell, has completely changed the face of Rogue Warriors. And at this point, all of the people in chat that are constantly saying that they want Ice Coke back, if you truly love Rogue Warriors, you want this man to stay on the roster.
100%. Like, that is absolutely insane coming through from Xiaohao. Like, I love the fact that we're getting these early plays, specifically playing around what seems to be the strong point of the map for Rogue Warriors, which is betting that bottom side. Like, actually being able to set him up for success. So when we get towards these team fights, he's dealing a ton of damage. And then as well, the early objective control, especially when he's on picks like this Olaf, right? Playing off towards the dragon, finding the opportunities to get these Rift Heralds for himself, and just getting that game already snowballing in Rogue Warriors' favor.
Yeah, able to really run away with things, especially in the mid game. I feel like Rogue Warriors played very well, not just in terms of fighting itself, but also in reading what Rare Atom wanted to do and counteracting that, right? It felt like Forge especially, I think, is a mid laner that, to be honest, has received a lot of criticism over the course of the last year or so. Really showing up today on this Zoe, and I feel like going to Game 2, maybe that has to be a ban or a pick away coming out for Rare Atom. We'll have to wait and see. We're going to go into a break, and then we'll see what